By now, you must be wondering how excess tech can help you seize the future.
Properly warned ye be, says I.
We hope that this voyage you're about to take, 20,000 leagues under the sea, will stimulate your interest in the phenomenon of life in the ocean depths.
WDW Radio, your information station.
Hello, my friend, and welcome to the WDW Radio Show, your passport to the Disney parks. I am your host, Lou Mangello, and this is show number 780. And together, since 2004, when I wrote my first Walt Disney World trivia book, I wanted to help you not only have the best possible vacation experience when you go to the parks, but I also want to bring you a little bit of that Disney magic wherever you are here on the podcast, my weekly live video every Wednesday night at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, blogs, events, books, newsletter, and more. Please join the community and find everything at WDWRadio.com and connect with me on social. I am at Lou Mangello. And this week, we are venturing beyond the classic treats to uncover the hidden snack gems of Walt Disney World. From savory surprises to sweet delights, you're going to discover the treats that fly under the radar with my friend and guest, Shay Spence. And don't listen hungry, because you won't believe what's hiding in plain sight. Then stay tuned for our Disney Trivia Question of the Week and more updates at the end of the show. And don't forget to subscribe to the free weekly newsletter and update and get a free copy of my 102 Things to Do in Walt Disney World at least once book over at www.radio.com/subscribe. And if you like what you hear, please share the show and tell a friend. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this week's episode of the WDW Radio Show. Attractions in the Disney parks are just things we do in between meals, like snacks. And I am a lifelong snacker and have the physique to prove it. So this week's show is not just in my wheelhouse, but dare I say is an area of expertise. Because in addition to the snacks that we all know and love and come back to time and again, popcorn, churros, Mickey bars, I'm looking at you, there is a veritable treasure trove of hidden gems and overlooked snacks in the Disney parks and resorts. And on this episode, where I will joyfully warn you in advance not to listen hungry, we are going to explore and uncover the culinary treasures hidden in plain sight throughout Walt Disney World. And who better to join me on this crusade than my very special guest? He's the Indiana Jones of Disney snacks. He is a food writer, an editor, a TV star, and now we can add author. He is Shay Spence, whose new Ultimate Disney World Food Guide is now available. Shay, welcome to the show.
Hello, Lou. It is so great to be here. It's a little bit surreal, I have to say. First of all, this topic is fantastic for us to start off with because I don't know if you remember, first time I reached out to you when I was working at People Magazine, I was the food editor, and I used to listen to your podcast every day when I was like dodging rats on the subway in New York City. And I was just like, I used to listen to like news podcasts every morning. And then one day I was like, I can't do this anymore because between the hustle and bustle and like the depressing news, I need something jolly. So I just Googled, are there any Disney World podcasts? Yours came up first. I became addicted to it. And then like you were like the joyous spot of all my mornings. So I'm like, well, I'm like the editor of People Magazine. I'm pretty cool. I could just probably like reach out to Lou Mangello, right? Like I'll send him an email. And so I did. And then you ended up writing, the first thing you wrote for us was about the best hidden gem snacks in Disney World. And I was still a newbie in the world of Disney World food. So you actually taught me a lot of stuff.
Listen, good night, everybody. That's it. Show's over.
And one thing I remember is the number one on your list, I think, was the lobster thermidor burger from the Grand Floridian Cafe. which they don't have anymore.
I know. Which
devastates me. And that was one of my favorite things I've ever eaten at Disney World, because you told me to get it and I was like, holy moly, this is incredible. And when I came back and it was gone, I want to talk to somebody and fire somebody over that decision.
Well, that's anyway. We'll talk about it. That's the hard thing about a list like this, right? Is things come and go.
Things come and go.
Caveat and a good thing all at the same time. And I do remember that fateful email back in 2018. I'm like, this is a mistake. Did People Magazine just reach out to me? And you were like so nice and so kind. And then we met at Starbucks. After that,
Disney Springs.
Yeah, so that still.
And now I feel like I see you everywhere. We're all at the same events and all that stuff, and
we usually don't get a chance to chat, right? We're sort of passing like two ships, but
I know it's a lot. There's always a lot going on, but so happy to be here. One of my all-time favorite pods.
Thank you, man. And listen, I appreciate you bringing your true like professional eating. I joke around, but your professional eating experience, not just to the show, but your guide. We'll talk about that later. Cause I follow you very closely, like borderline stalkerish on social, and you're always on the lookout, like for new culinary discoveries. And I love that your work is this true blend of passion as well as very deep knowledge of the Disney food scene.
Yeah, it's so funny because, first of all, I went to culinary school and I thought maybe I would work in a restaurant, do a chef kind of thing, and then I just sort of fell into food media, which is how I ended up at People. And then I grew up going to Disney, every year with my dad. He traveled like 4 days a week for work. And so he would sometimes just come home. We lived in Texas, and he would just surprise me and say, we're going to Disney World for the weekend. And so I have all of these great Disney memories as a kid. I never went as an adult until I was like 24, 25 when I was working in media. And I was like, oh my gosh, there are like all this food that I had no idea about when I was a kid, because I was just eating Mickey pretzels and bars and stuff. And then, I got addicted to that element of it. And the food scene is just so vast, and it's like this portion of what I do, because I also do food reviews of places here in Key West. I live in Key West, all of my travels around the country, and Disney is still my number one favorite place though. So
I love that. Just very quickly, like just to, fill in some of the gaps in terms of your origin story, because it is pretty amazing to see. Again, you started talking about how you worked at People, but like you've grown this ridiculously massive following on social media, and talk about being humble and burying the lead. When I said TV star, I was not kidding, because you were a contestant on Fox's Next Level Chef. So give me a little bit more of the Shay origin story.
Well, yeah. So they found me on social. Basically, I grew on social through two things: making recipes and then doing vlogs of going to Disney World. So it was like this dichotomy of what I'm doing here. And they found me, reached out to me, the producers for Gordon Ramsay's Next Level Chef, just through my TikTok. And I went through this rigorous interview process. I did all these Zoom calls, all these phone calls with producers. And I didn't think I was going to get on, because they didn't call me for like 5 months later. And then they called me and said, hey, can you come to London next week? We want you on the show. So that was like, I didn't have time to like practice or like time myself while I was cooking, which I don't know if the audience has seen Next Level Chef. It's a very intense show. You have 10 or 30 seconds to grab all of the ingredients that you're going to be able to cook with off of a moving platform. And then you have Gordon Ramsay screaming in your face for 30 minutes while you try to put out a dish. And it was the most bizarre, fun, intense experience of my life. But yeah, would I do it again? I don't know. I don't know that I would put myself through that again. But TV star might be an exaggeration, but I was on the TV.
I'm going to stick with TV star. And
why not? You know what? Let's just do it. I should lean into that.
Absolutely. This is my brush with greatness. So
it sounds better than TikTok star. Sometimes when they write about me, they say TikTok star, and I'm like, In my obituary, I don't necessarily want to say TikTok star.
Right. But I love that it happened. Everybody's like, well, how do I grow? I love, that you are a great lesson in growing something organically. Like you just being you, and so much of you comes through on your, even when you're cooking and not necessarily on camera, so much of your personality comes through. And I think that's why it's grown the way it has, because people are attracted to and connect to and relate. You're very sort of relatable on social too.
Well, thank you. I mean, yeah, I just think like there are so many avenues to be able to express yourself creatively now, and mine just happened to be TikTok at the right time. Especially like my videos really took off during COVID when the parks were closed and I had all this old footage of Disney, and that was sort of a lightning in the bottle moment. But I do always say, just, it's so trite, but really be yourself and have fun. People can tell if you're having fun when you're making videos, when you're making content. People can tell when you're having fun on your podcast. Like when you actually enjoy the subject and have a passion for it, it really makes all the difference. And I think that's the difference between being successful and not in this media landscape.
I talk to people about this all the time, and I actually had a call right before this talking to somebody. I said, authenticity has become sort of a marketing buzzword. Like it shouldn't be a badge of honor that you're authentic. Like you should just be who you really are, because that comes through, and that transparency and that trust is super, super important in terms of developing the relationships that you do on social with those that follow along with you. Anyway, I digress. And I thought it would be fun to do this in sort of a park by park, Disney Springs, resorts, anywhere else that you want to bounce to. So as we sort of grab our virtual maps, it makes perfect sense to start in Magic Kingdom. And I want to preface this by quoting you, Mr. Shay Spence. And your guide is the best hidden gem foods at Walt Disney World. And you say on your site, the most iconic park is also probably the park with the least exciting food, but don't worry, I will guide you to all the best spots. So not only are you my friend and guest, so you have to go first, but I am wildly curious to hear your Magic Kingdom entries.
Is that controversial? I do think it is.
I'm not saying I disagree.
I love Magic Kingdom. I do think it's a little tough to get exciting stuff there. So, All right. I'm going to first just go ahead. This might be cheating, but just Sleepy Hollow refreshments in general, I think is the best quick service spot in Disney World. I mean, everything on the menu is a total banger, between the breakfast waffles to the spicy chicken waffle and the best corn dog in all of Disney World. That corn dog, that's the best corn dog I've ever had anywhere in my life. So that Sleepy Hollow as a whole, that's kind of cheating. And then I'm going to go over to also Friar's Nook and say that the bacon mac and cheese tots, I like that they put the tots on top of the mac and cheese rather than loading the tots from below, so that the tots stay very crispy. And then you like dig in and get that really creamy mac and cheese and the bacon and the sour cream, and it all mixes together. So my ultimate answer of most underrated snack at Magic Kingdom would be the bacon mac and cheese tots from Friar's Nook. And I'm curious what you think about that.
So I dig that. And I try and, years ago, they had a pot roast mac and cheese at Friar's Nook that I was so excited for. And I did a video about. And then like a week later, they took it off the menu. And I realized that after that happened a couple of times, that I'm the curse. And anytime I would do a video,
don't even mention it.
So I'm not even going to mention it, because I really do. I agree. And I like it. And I don't think that Sleepy Hollow was cheating at all, because I wanted to put not one, but both of the waffles. Because the way I think the play at Sleepy Hollow is you bring a friend or grab a friend. It's fine. And you get one of each, and then you split them. So you get a little bit of the savory and spicy and a little bit of the sweet to finish it off. And that's a nice day at Magic Kingdom right there.
Mwah, that is beautiful. Even the Mickey waffles there in the morning with the strawberry, it's like a strawberry compote and the whipped cream. That's a really good Mickey waffle, and I think it's like less than $6 or something. So it's like a really good deal as well.
I was sort of all over the place on this, and I wrote like 17 things down on my list, but I'm not going to all of them. So I wanted to think, so this was the hidden gems, and I tried to think about things that were a little bit more off of the beaten path. I tried to stay away from any sit-down restaurants. So as tempted as I was to go to Skipper Canteen, I should not. But I will go.
We can talk about that. We can talk about that another time.
That's right. We have ideas for other shows, right? Yeah. I'm going to go over to a place that I think does not get a lot of love, and it's Columbia Harbor House. And you're like, Mangello, are you sure? And I'm going with the Hush Puppies, which are a Magic Kingdom exclusive. Well, I would say it's a Magic Kingdom exclusive, although I think the best Hush Puppies in Walt Disney World are at Chef Art Smith's Homecoming. Separate conversation for a separate podcast.
It's tough to compare parks to Disney Springs. People get mad when I do that. And so I'm like, it's okay, fine, it's different.
You can't. Yeah, you can't. But if you're in the parks and you want to grab a snack, Shay, this is going to come as a surprise to you. I'm not really a sweets guy. So,
that's okay.
And I say that. And then there's pictures of me like gobbling down ice cream.
Look, we all say things that we can't practice what we preach 100% of the time.
In my heart, I mean it, but in actuality, it's not true. But
I get you.
I think these are a great snack, right? I do often prefer a savory snack. These come in at $4.99. Years ago, I did a video, 5 snacks under $5, which they're few and far between. Right, I know, but this is one. It comes at $4.99, and this like classic sort of side dish, which are like these golden fritters that are made from this cornmeal based batter, and then they're fried until crispy. Like they're thick and they're doughy inside. There's like actual pieces of real corn, which give a little tiny bit of that subtle sweetness. And I think that you get 3 of them with some fries, and it's under $5. I think like it's, given the price point and flavor, I think it's a great value for money choice that you could share. I probably wouldn't. And it is a really nice sort of savory treat, that's easily accessible too.
You have found a blind spot in my Disney food knowledge because I have never had those Hush Puppies. And what I will say is I've only been to Columbia Harbor House one time. I'm a little particular about seafood. I do like seafood. I live in the Keys. We get a lot of fresh seafood. I'm a little particular about my seafood. So one thing I will say though is they have amazing chicken tenders at Columbia Harbor House. Amazing. And they have a I don't know if all of them are gluten-free, but I went with my gluten-free friend, and they have gluten-free chicken tenders that were like incredible. So that's just to piggyback on that a little bit. I got to try the Hush Puppies next time though.
Yeah, I noticed I stayed away from the seafood. I did go directly for the Hush Puppies.
People love the lobster roll. I'm just I'm a snob. I'm a seafood snob. I'm not a snob about food at all. In other aspects, seafood, I'm a little snobby.
Listen, considering where you
I'll go to the boathouse.
I was going to say, if I want a lobster roll, I'm going to the boathouse or to Key West, one of the two.
Exactly. You're welcome anytime.
Don't tempt me with a good time. The other one from Magic Kingdom that I threw on there is a little bit of a cheat because I talked about off the beaten path, not things like churros and Mickey waffles. I did actually choose a pretzel, but it's a pepper jack pretzel. And it's over at Cheshire Cafe in Fantasyland because it's stuffed with pepper jack cheese and jalapeno peppers. It's not always available. It's one of those things you almost have to sort of catch it when it's there. But I love the fact that there's a little bit of a spicy kick. So if you like a little bit more of bolder flavors and that creamy, sharp cheese and the heat of the peppers within the soft, chewy pretzels is really, really nice. Even if it's 112 degrees outside. So if you want something that has a little bit of an elevated flavor in terms of spice, I think this comes in at like $7, somewhere around there.
I love that one. It's really good. And I'm not a huge fan of the Cheshire Cattail all the time. It was a little stale the last time I had it. But the pepper jack pretzel is really good. I thought you were going to say the the sweet cream cheese pretzel from Lunching Pad, which then I remembered you said the sweetness. You're not as much of a sweets guy. And really, everyone, I had this sweet pretzel last time I was here because I did a list of all the best pretzels at Disney World, and the fury in the comments that I did not include the sweet cream cheese pretzel. And I have to say, it was really good. I just think that pretzels should be savory, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm with you. And
I have one more. I have one more.
I was just going to say we're potentially both leaving something out. I want to see if we're thinking about the same thing.
I think they still have it right now, but Casey's Corner has the pulled pork barbecue loaded fries right now. And it's, again, this is another budget. I'm pretty sure it's around $7 or something like that. I have to check. And it's so much food, so much pork. Like, they load the pork on there. And with their delicious fries, barbecue sauce, slaw, I get the little sleazy cheese on the side for $1 extra. And it's those were so good. So if they're on the menu when you go, that might be my most underrated hidden gem snack at Magic Kingdom.
I like that. I thought you were going to say the corn dog nuggets, because every now and then, if I feel like being,
those. I feel like they get a lot of love though. Many people are celebrating those. I want to go a little deeper, you know.
Which is why I didn't mention it, but I'm going to mention it anyway. The Adventureland spring roll cart and the cheeseburger spring rolls. Because the first time I had them,
so good.
Like, my head exploded. I'm like, they just put a Big Mac into a spring roll.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
If you had to choose between the cheeseburger pods or the spring roll cheeseburgers, what would you choose?
So the cheeseburger pods at Satu'li?
Satu'li Canteen, yeah.
Listen, Satu'li Canteen is very far away, and it's a long walk in the heat, but I will make that trek for those pods.
Those are really good. I think I would choose those too, but it's a tough one.
It's tough.
Because they kind of have a similar filling, that Big Mac-y kind of filling.
Yeah.
But you can't beat the fluffiness of the.
That's it. Listen, anyway. This is a body built on bao buns, so.
Sturdy.
All right. Anything else in Magic Kingdom, or do we move over to Epcot?
My only other thing, I'm not a big Dole Whip guy, but Aloha Isle, I do like the pineapple upside down Dole Whip. But last time my friend, and this isn't something I would normally order, got not the Kakamora float, it's called the Tropical Serenade float with that coconut Dole Whip. And I think Pog juice. And it's really good. It's I've always thought that coconut Dole Whip is some of the best Dole Whip. It's really, really tasty. So if you're there and they have that float is delicious.
I do like the fact that they've expanded the Dole Whip spectrum to
add universe.
Coconut and raspberry and some of the other flavors and stuff too, for those that want a little bit of change of pace to spice things up.
Yeah. I think we can move. I think that's all I have for Magic
Kingdom. That's it. I'm going to restrain myself and move over to Epcot instead. So, okay.
There's so much. Epcot, I feel overwhelmed. I'm hyperventilating a little bit.
I did. I don't want to tell you how many I have on my list. But I have my list, and then I have my list in bold, and then I have my list in bold, highlighted in red. So that's how I'm going to reverse it.
Okay. Let's just riff then. You start this time because I started last time.
Oh God! I knew you were going to make me do that. Mm-hmm. All right, I'm going to go backwards, and I'm actually going to go with a drink instead of because I think a drink is a snack too.
Totally, yeah.
Because I tried to think of things in places that are overlooked, and I think so many people walk by the Morocco Pavilion. One, they miss everything that's in the back. They're afraid. Couldn't be
me. Love it. My
afraid
favorite.
of Moroccan food. But if you go into Tangerine Cafe in the back, at the little Oasis Sweets and Sips, they have a frozen mint tea, which is like this cool twist on iced tea, and it's minty, and it's this wonderful combination of sweetness, and it's soothing, and it's invigorating, and it's recharging, and it's sweet without being overpowering. I think that mint really sort of balances the sweetness of the tea, and you walk out into that blazing Florida sun in December, and it's a really, really nice treat. And it comes in, I think, at like $5, somewhere around there.
Lou Mangello, are you following me? Do you realize this was that was the last thing I consumed on my most recent trip to Disney World? And I haven't even posted about it, so I know that you didn't find it on my socials. So I'm wondering if you were like peeking from behind. That is delicious. It's really good. And I totally agree with you. It's super refreshing. You can get it with or without gin, I think. And yeah, as far as like frozen drinks around the world, sometimes they get so cloyingly sweet. And when you're consuming, eating and drinking as much as you are at Epcot oftentimes, I felt like that was a good palate cleanser.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because like the mint, it kind of just like reset. So that was a really good choice.
Nice. Shay Spence approved. Stamp it.
Yeah.
I dig it.
All right. I'm going to say, again, from my last trip, something I had never had before, over at Choza de Margarita across from Cantina in Mexico. I never stopped there because there is a bit of a line there usually. And if I'm going for a margarita, I usually will go into La Cava. And if I'm going for a snack, I'll usually go get the nachos over at Cantina. So there's never really a time for me to go to Choza de Margarita. Thankfully, I did it this time, and I got the chicken tostadas, which were absolutely magnificent. Now, this chicken, it's like a shredded chicken, almost sort of like it gives me like a chicken tinga almost, simmered in like a red salsa, a little bit greasy, but in a nice way. And just like super moist, topped with lettuce and tomato and stuff. And then on a tostada that somehow defies the odds and stays crunchy with that saucy chicken on top of it. And so you get the crunch, you get the meltingly delicious, tender chicken. And I was shocked how good they were. I wasn't expecting it. And this is a really, really, really good bite. I added it to my itinerary for Epcot. So it might have replaced the nachos for me at Cantina. And I hate to say that. That makes me almost sick to say, but they're really good.
So while you're there, don't move. Don't move away from Choza de Margarita because in addition to your hunky tuna tostadas, I want to get the elote. I want to get the Mexican street corn that is wonderfully smothered in chipotle aioli, queso tojita, and tajin. We keep tajin in my house, and like my daughter puts it on everything, and like
it's good on like almost anything. Sweet,
yeah, right.
People put it on Dole Whip.
Margaritas, yeah.
Over in Disneyland, they give you tajin to put on your Dole Whip.
Yeah, at the
they don't do that at Disney World. I don't think.
Yeah, my daughter like literally, I think she keeps a packet with her wherever she goes. But
brilliant, you raised her well.
It's the ultimate like Mexican street food, which makes it perfect to kind of stroll around World Showcase with. And when I say that it's smothered in this chipotle aioli, I don't mean like in an overwhelming way, but smothered in this way that it adds this creamy, smoky flavor that really sort of it coats the corn, but it doesn't drench it. Like you still get that crunchiness of the corn and the salty tanginess, and then that little bit of that zesty, spicy kick from the tajin. Like, again, I am a handheld walk around snacker kind of guy. And I think you pair this with your beverage of choice, whether it be a margarita, a Mexican beer, whatever it is, because I think the citrus flavors really sort of elevate the flavors of the corn as well.
I'm craving that right now. That's a beautiful also just first snack if you're starting in Mexico. Like you want to ease into it, right?
Yeah.
And that's just perfect. Oh, okay.
And it's spicy without being overwhelmed. Like if you're like, I'm afraid of spice, like you can, it's tolerable, even if you're not really a spicy person. Yeah.
The tajin, also you get the lime from it just sort of tames the heat a bit. That's a great pick. I have another pick that's in just one country over. We don't have to go far. And we're going to go to the Kringla. How do you say that? Kringla Norway Bakery. Right. Norway Bakery. I don't try to pronounce things in other languages very well. And to that point, they have something, and it translates. It's not the school bread. I do love the school bread, but we're talking hidden gem here, so getting away from the obvious. Very similar. And it's called like Verdens Best Cake. It translates to world's best cake from Norwegian. And it's like 2 sponge cakes with a vanilla custard in between. So it might be the same custard they have inside the school bread. And then instead on top they have meringue. And the meringue is like crunchy on top, but also inside it's a little soft. So it's like it kind of cracks, but then it gives way to a little bit of soft meringue as well. So with the sponge cake, you're getting a lot of textural contrast here. I'm really into textural contrast, if you can't tell by now. I got that last time, and I thought it was a really good, if you want to try something different besides the school bread, which I do love, this is another good alternative.
So I love that. And I wasn't going to go to Norway, but you made me think of something. And I actually haven't had this in a long time. And I will see the school bread, and I'll raise the school bread a lefse. And you're like, Mangello, Spence, why are you going to Norway and not getting the school bread? Here's not one, but 2 reasons. Because the lefse, it looks like it should have been in the Mexico pavilion, because it looks like it's a big, like rolled tortilla. It almost looks like like a flauta. It almost looks like a Mexican flauta. But this is actually, it's a potato flatbread that's filled with, and it's very healthy because it's filled with sugar and cinnamon and lots and lots and lots of butter. And then they wrap it up in a parchment paper. You grab that with a nice little cup of coffee or like an iced coffee, and you sit outside under that green, like thatched roof in the shadow of the Frozen attraction.
Yeah.
Again, that's a nice, in the morning, I like a little lefse and a coffee to sort of get my day started in the morning.
It's cheap too. That's like maybe $3 or something. Yep. So, and
again, in theory, you can share it. In practicality,
in practice, not always. Yeah, not as much. I love that. I love that we're giving options, because you know what? Sometimes I do love the school bread. Probably still the best thing there, but sometimes you want to do something different, right?
Yeah. And this is
it's
the
very
idea
heavy.
Of going
it's
off
very
the
heavy.
beaten path.
Yeah.
It is very heavy. It is very heavy. Yeah. And clearly I'm watching my weight.
You look great, Lou. You look great.
I'm wearing black for a reason, Shay. So. And I don't do these things standing up. All right. So is it my turn?
Yeah. You said lefse, so.
Go ahead. You can go.
I feel like I'm just making my way. Okay. I'm going to just briefly pass through China and pay homage to the egg rolls from Joy of Tea, which that's probably the one snack that I get like every single time I go to Epcot. I love those egg rolls. Not that they're that much different than like your average takeout egg roll, but it's just like something about it. It's very perfect execution. There's never a really long line. The hibiscus tea from there is also really good. So they got those boba in it. So it's a nice little pairing. You get your egg rolls, you get your hibiscus tea. Again, very, very refreshing, very solid. But I am going to keep moving to Germany. And I'm going to talk about the salted caramel gingerbread cookie sandwich. Have you had this?
I'm saying all the salted caramel gingerbread.
It's from the caramel, the caramel shop, the popcorn place.
Nobody knows how exactly to pronounce
like caramel kuche, whatever. I'm not going to try to say it. I've written about it for years, and I'm like, oh, just the caramel place, the popcorn place. But it's 2 salted caramel gingerbread cookies drizzled with salted caramel. And then it has this like vanilla sort of buttercream in the center. And I think it started just as a Christmassy thing. And then they kept it on because it was like the demand was so high, because it is incredible. And even if you're not a huge sweets guy, one bite of this, you'll be fine. You probably won't eat any more, but one bite will make you ascend. It is so good.
I love that. And I love how when you walk by there, you are like drawn inside because the smells, the way they waft outside, like you'll find something in there that you like. There's a little something for everyone.
I love that whole pastry case. Like, I don't think I've ever had anything bad from there.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. I don't think I've ever had anything bad from
the caramel butter bar is really good too. Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
I thought I might have had one of those on my. No, maybe I didn't. I didn't have anything from Germany on my list. I'll have to read
pretzel bread
list.
pudding if we're going. Yeah, there's just a lot. There's so many.
Because I can't help but make a beeline for Japan. It's my favorite pavilion on World Showcase. It's my favorite country to visit outside the U.S. And I love that.
I've been inspired by your Japanese travels, and I've never been able to go. I've traveled all over the world. I've been to a lot of places. Japan is like number one on my list, and I followed your adventures through there, and I'm just like dying.
Shay, I'm not saying that we're doing Adventures by Disney again to Japan in 2025, but
you are saying that.
But I am saying that,
and you are saying that, and I'm.
You will fall in love.
Okay.
You will fall in love with that country.
The seed has been planted.
I love the pavilion. I love the dining options. I love Mitsukoshi, right? I love just sort of wandering through Mitsukoshi. And it used to be in the back, the entire back wall was filled with prepackaged snacks. It's been sort of rearranged over the years. It's gotten a lot smaller. But I used to love to just go in and just grab something off the shelf and just try it. I remember doing a video where I tried do you ever have the little crunchy crabs? They're like tiny little itty bitty, Shay Spence. When next time you come to Walt Disney World, we have to do a live walk around and record ourselves as we're actually eating and review it on the spot. So there's little crunchy crabs. And I think it's fun whether you are with your kids and want to just, as a goof, try something different and just see how you like it. I'm not necessarily sure I'm down with the little dried cuttlefish. We all have our sort of threshold.
You know what I mean?
But I love sort of going through and grabbing the packaged snacks. But I did actually decide instead to walk outside, and I will adultify this a little bit. I am not a big drinker. I'm really not a huge drinker. However, I really do like a very nice sake, especially if I'm having like a nice Japanese meal. It's my favorite type of food. And at the Kabuki Cafe, they have a sake slushy, which is available in blood orange, coconut pineapple, or blackberry, meaning there's fruits. So it's now a health food, according to, right? So
totally.
What I like is you get this, the sake, depending on what type that you get, if it's a Nagori, if it's an unfiltered sake, but you get this sort of refined, sort of smooth flavor of the sake that's sort of lifted up with vibrant kind of tropical notes of the blood orange or the coconut pineapple or the blackberry. And every one is very distinct and different. And I think the way that those flavors pair with the subtleness of the sake gives you a very different experience, but it doesn't have that sort of bite in the back of your palate of some other alcohol. So
is it better than the violet sake, would you say? Have you had the violet sake?
I have had the violet sake. And you know what? I'll plant my flag and I'll say that I'll just for fun. Because all the violet sake people.
I like that you're saying that. I think you should just stick with that because it's a more interesting opinion because everybody says to get the violet sake.
Because this is different because this is like served with shaved ice. So it's almost like a kakigori meets little sake treat, enjoy it in moderation.
I'm not a huge sake. I mean, okay, I am a drinker, but not as I never have delved into the world of sake. My experience with sake was like college, like sake bombs, and I think I did that too many times at like a dirty karaoke place, and from there on,
everything about that is wrong. Everything about what you said is wrong.
I get a little queasy with the sake, but I want to try that because that sounds very good. And I know that when you have actual good sake, that it's a different experience.
Are you a sushi person? Are you a sushi guy?
Absolutely. I love sushi.
So we will go.
And I know
sushi.
we weren't doing sit down, but I do love Shikisai, the new Japanese restaurant. And they have wasabi edamame there, which I think we can consider a snack. It is so good because, I've always had the wasabi. They'll either toss it in, like a spicy sort of chili sauce.
Right.
I don't know that I've had it where they toss it in this wasabi sauce, and it is like so delicious, and it's just spicy enough to clear it out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that was incredible. I love that.
Shikisai.
I was looking because on my table, I don't know where, I just had it, but when I just cleaned it out, I got this Japanese face mask from that store. And all of the instructions are in Japanese. So I'm like, I'm just going to put it on my face. I don't know. I have no idea. We'll just put it on for like 30 minutes and hopefully it doesn't eat my flesh off. But my skin has never felt better. And so I have to say, when you go, what's the name of that store? In Japan?
Mitsukoshi.
Yeah. Get the Japanese face mask. Your skin, it will change your life.
I might just do that. And I'm like, Shay told me to come in and get the Japanese face mask.
It's great. It's great. It feels great, really. And I wish I could find it, but
I'll wear it on my next Wednesday Night Live show, which I'm sure will be incredibly attractive.
All the instructions in Japanese, nothing, you have no idea. So
you know where to put it. It'll be fine.
Yeah, you figure it out. You figure it out. Okay.
Anything else at Epcot jump out for you?
My last little tidbit was the maple popcorn at Canada. I don't know that it's considered a hidden gem, but I like it better than the popcorn and the caramel popcorn in Germany. I think that's that's something interesting.
Yeah, I don't really have. I mean, I had a couple of things, but nothing. Well, the only thing, it's not really a hidden thing. Again, not being a sweets guy, I really do like the Liege waffle in connection.
Yeah, I love that.
I like it. Just has enough of that sweetness from that sort of crystallized sugar, a little bit of strawberries and chocolate drizzle on top too.
I watched them make that the day that it came out. They let me come back in the kitchen because there's some media day. And it's just amazing. They get this brioche dough, these beautiful, smooth brioche buns, and they press it in the waffle. I didn't realize until then that was how the Liege waffle was made, was through a buttery brioche dough, which is why it tastes so good. It has like sturdiness to it, but it's not too dense. You know what I mean? That's a great pick. I love that. And they do like different specialties throughout the seasons.
All right, let's hop over to Disney's Hollywood Studios.
Yes, okay. My turn to go first?
It is your turn. Because I had a little bit of a tougher time with Hollywood
Studios is tough. And not because there isn't good food. I just feel like, I don't know, as far as hidden gems go, I do have some. Okay. First is Fairfax Fair. And they have those waffle bowls there, which I think are a little bit strange. Like, I find it like odd that you're eating like a soba noodle salad out of a waffle cone. That to me is not, I don't get that. There is one that I do like though, the buffalo chicken bowl. Cause at least conceptually I see where they're going with like chicken and waffles. So this is spicy. I will say, like, if it's not just theme park spicy, like the buffalo chicken, when I had it, it was intense. So if you don't like spice, don't listen. Really good buffalo chicken nuggets on top of like creamy mashed potatoes in that waffle bowl. It's an interesting thing. I liked it. It's not something I would maybe get every time, but I at least get it once. And if you like spice with your food, you're going to like that.
I do like spice. And I also like the fact too, and I think this has happened gradually over the last number of years, is that the Disney version of spice has been they've turned the dial up a little bit, because Disney spice years ago was very sort of mild. Right. And I think that they see, as palates have gotten a little bit more expansive or refined, whatever you want to call it, they're willing to sort of let things that say they're spicy, actually sort of bring some of the heat with it.
I totally agree with that. I've noticed it. And as someone who loves spice, I appreciate it.
Yeah, I there was, because some of the things that I thought of here, like I love the tachos and I love the Ronto wrap, but everybody sort of knows about those.
Right.
I think I went with the first thing that popped into my head. And again, I'm completely contradicting I'm not a sweets guy thing because I'm going with something sweet. And I'm going over to 50s Primetime Cafe, and I specifically stayed away from sit-down restaurants, but I'm walking into...
you can get this. Yeah.
I'm walking into the lounge.
I'm interrupting you because I know what you're about to say.
You know where I'm going, right? I'm walking into the lounge, and look, one thing that we love about Disney is I think it brings out the 7-year-old kid in us, and you put the words peanut butter and jelly and milkshake together. I'm all in because it is that sort of like instant transportation back to childhood all over again. I actually think I included this in the people list. I think this is one of those things. Yeah.
I was about to say that you did, because that's how I found out about it. And thank you again. I have to say it's so good. And I don't love 50s Primetime, not because I don't think the food is good. I don't like the shtick. Like where I'm scared they're gonna put me in timeout the whole meal or something. I get a little
traumatic memories from childhood.
I get a little I'm like a little nervous. I much prefer, if we're doing theme, I much prefer the sci-fi dine-in, because at least you can just sit there and shut your mouth and watch the TV and you don't have to interact with anybody. But that peanut butter, and you can get the peanut butter and jelly milkshake to go, I think, if you go into Tune In Lounge, right?
That's it.
So that counts. I have something sweet also. And I don't know how often this is actually open, but the gelato stand over in the Muppets, have you dabbled?
I have, and I'm wondering if I'm doing screen sharing on our call, because it's exactly where I was going.
Okay. See, that's a hidden gem to me.
Yeah. Because
I don't even think it shows up on the map.
It almost looks like it's a prop. It almost looks like it's fake, like it's not supposed to be there.
Totally. And I'm like, they have like a... Yeah. And I've had the Pog gelato, which is really good. If you love Pog juice, I like it. I like Pog juice fine. It's one of those things, sort of like a Dole Whip, where it's not as exciting to me, but the gelato version is really good. And I think it's like a fun little surprise. And I love the Muppets. I wish we had more Muppet representation just in general. So I like to be over there. I'm not really like a Star Wars guy. I'm more likely to find me hanging out by Baseline and the Muppets. So
yeah, if that Baseline pretzel was available to go, or I could have gotten like a charcuterie cup to go, I would have thrown Baseline on the list. But
I think Baseline can count. Baseline is so that pretzel is so good. It
is, and it's a super chill place. Like if you get, you live in Florida, you know that we get like those 2 or 3 weeks where you can actually sit outside, and you sit outside, especially like during
we're in it right now, actually.
Yeah, it's going to change this week. It's going to be like 94.
Yeah, I'm just trying to embrace it while we can.
Right, but sitting outside, like with your beverage of choice, alcoholic or otherwise, and you get the little charcuterie board and the pretzel, you sit around with some friends, or in my case, by yourself, and gobble them all up. Like that's a nice afternoon or evening over at Baseline.
Totally. And they do, someone pointed out that, because I was saying how I love and I'm kind of skipping ahead with the Jock Lindsay's pretzel with the charcuterie over in Disney Springs. And if you price it out, I think it's actually the same to get the charcuterie and the pretzel at Baseline as it is to get the charcuterie pretzel from Jock Lindsay's. So you can kind of recreate that there. I love Baseline.
Yeah.
And my number one, I'm a big Ronto wrap guy. It's probably my favorite Disney World food, historically speaking. I'm a big fan of the Ronto. I would say it's not a hidden gem in that it's grown in popularity so much, but
I had it on my list too, but I'm like, well, it's not hidden because it's clearly just a Ronto wrapped stand, but that's my go-to food. Yeah, that's my go-to at Hollywood Studios.
It's the best. It's the best. It's so good. If I'm in Star Wars, I've also had the pork rinds there. Pretty good pork rinds. I don't know if you're a pork rinds kind of guy.
I am a pork rind guy.
They're good. They're good. And you wouldn't think to get them, but I did last time. They have a little bit of cinnamon. which my mother is Lebanese and she always puts cinnamon in savory stuff and almost never in sweet stuff. Like we didn't have cinnamon rolls, but she would put cinnamon on our Thanksgiving turkey. So I grew up just thinking cinnamon was like a savory spice. So I appreciate just a little bit of cinnamon on these pork rinds. Really nice.
I like pork rinds because I tell myself, well, they're really high in protein, so it's a health food, and that's
it's keto,
right?
It's
and
keto.
I just choose not to read any of the other, nutritional facts.
None of your people. I remember when the keto trend was really big, and everyone was like, "Yeah, you can eat like chips and guacamole, but just use pork rinds instead of chips." And I'm like, okay, so you're just gonna eat like literally fried pork skin and tell me that's healthier than a chip? I don't believe you, but that's fine. Whatever works for you.
Yeah, however you get through the day, whatever you need to do to tell yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Again, and it's not hidden at all, but the only other thing that I wanted to add there that I really do like is if you go into the marketplace in Galaxy's Edge, I do like the cold brew Black Calf at Katsaka's Kettle. Yeah. It's at Joffrey's Cold Brew. And it sounds weird, like sweet
they put
cream
the cereal
cheese
on top of it or something?
It's the Cocoa Puffs that get me. It's like I was
you're there for the Cocoa Puffs.
I'm there. It's like a 5-year-old, Lou Mangello watching cartoons on Saturday morning. And if you want to add a little Godiva liqueur, you can do that too. Not to your Cocoa Puffs, but to the cold brew. You can.
To that point, they do the popcorn over there tastes like Trix. There's something about some people told me it tastes like Fruit Loops, and I tasted it, and I said, "No, y'all, that Outpost popcorn mix." I said, "This is not a Fruit Loops. I'm an expert. This is Trix. Tastes like Trix."
The one, no matter the color, the one flavor of Fruit Loops.
Right, exactly. Okay, so that's all I have.
That's all I had. Yeah, that's all I had for studios.
Okay.
Animal Kingdom, surprisingly, I had a bunch. I have a bunch of Animal Kingdom.
That's because it's like probably the best snacking park.
I
said that in my guide. I think that I like it better than Epcot. Epcot has more options. But like as far as like quality per capita, I don't know if I'm using that right. It's been a while since I've been in school, but I think that there's like really, really, really good stuff in Animal Kingdom, and I'm excited to get into it.
Yeah, I am as well. And we can start.
It's your turn to start, though.
Well, we talked about the cheeseburger pods. It's a Thule Canteen when we talked about the spring rolls, but I think they do bear mentioning because even though it's a
absolutely
counter service restaurant, where you can sit down, you can sort of walk around because I love how well you can make or break, a bao bun pretty easily, right? If it's overcooked, if it's too doughy, if it's too chewy. But the bao buns have this tiny little bit of like sweetness that encases like the savory filling, which is this wonderful, you talk about this contrast in both flavor and texture. And it comes with this really nice veggie slaw and veggie chips. Again, the word veggie's in there, so I feel like it's healthier. So you got the crunchy slaw and the chips with the soft buns. It's a snack that also could be a full meal, and it's got that that little bit of a twist on sort of the Big Mac in a bun flavor.
And if you mobile order, and if you get you could get the kids version, right? And they just give you can be in and out with that cheeseburger pod in 3 minutes. So I think it definitely qualifies as a snack. And yeah, it can't be said enough. That's one of the best foods in Disney World. And it's an absolute must, in my opinion, on like any guide.
And I wanted to mention, they make, not one, not two, but like 4, 5 different allergy friendly versions. They make a version with no egg, with no fish or shellfish, no nuts, no sesame, or no soy. So whatever.
I had no idea.
And listen, that's why you tune in, Shay. You tune in.
That is, I know. These are you're like the policy wonk. You know all the little tidbits in there, and I'm more of a big picture kind of guy.
But I do love that, because look, I have a lot of friends that have special dietary requirements or kids with special, and they say sometimes the only place that they can go where you don't have to worry about going to make a special request, but there's items on the menu ready to go for people that have special requirements. I love the fact that you can get a bao bun, and whatever sort of sensitivity you might have that fits in this category, they already have those ready to go for you.
Absolutely. People always are like, will ask me, like, I'm going to Disney World, I'm a vegetarian, I'm nervous. And I'm like, dude, you're fine. Like, no matter what, you'll be fine. And you'll be able to eat just as good as everybody else. Like, it really is unbelievable. And piggybacking on the allergy thing, this wasn't on my list because I think a lot of people know about it, but I think as Bear's mentioning are the churros at Nomad Lounge, which I do think are the best churros in Disney World, but for maybe at Coronado Springs, which we're getting ahead of ourselves. They are gluten-free naturally. They use the 1-to-1 flour mix. And I didn't know that the first 3 times I had them. And then I brought my friend who was gluten-free, and she wanted the churros. They told her that the churros were gluten-free. And I was shocked because they're so good. You would never know. They're freshly fried. You get this vanilla sauce. You get this strawberry sauce. And it is a sit-down place, but it's a little bite. And if you are gluten-free and you want churros, that's where you got to go.
I dig it.
And then I have another big one if we want to pivot.
Do it.
And this is something that I passed this booth many times and never thought anything of it. Never thought it would be too exciting.
Come home to daddy. Come home. Hopefully you're going.
We're passing by. You want pizza, and you look over and to your left, and you see Pizza Fari. And I'm going to just tell you to go ahead and keep on walking. And if you keep walking up to your right, you're going to get to Terra Treats. And they have these little square pizzas that are almost, I want to say, almost like a Detroit style pizza because they have those caramelized edges. I'm scared of people in Detroit coming for me if I try to. I've never even been to Detroit, so don't take it so seriously. But it does have this kind of cheesy caramelized edge, the fluffy crust, tons of cheese. Last time I went, they had a buffalo chicken version that was so good. And I was sitting there thinking, it's my new favorite snack in Animal Kingdom, and I very rarely hear it talked about. So I would like to give some love to Terra Treats for the pizza. That's all I have to say about that.
Because pizza, as somebody who comes from the Northeast, pizza in Florida is not always awesome.
It's tough. Yeah, it's tough.
When you said Pizza Fari, I'm like, oh. We might be going in separate directions.
It's fine. Trust me. Yeah, it's not. I lived in New York before I moved to Florida, so I get it. And it's not in any way related to the type of pizza you get up there. But in the realm of Disney pizza, it's really, really good.
So I will admit that I don't think I've ever tried it. I don't think I've ever had it. I challenge accepted.
Lou Mangello.
Challenge accepted. The next time I make that long trek to Disney's Animal Kingdom. But the place I thought you were going to is, I don't know who he is, but Mr. Kamal, you and your little shack on the side of the road have, for years, you have always delivered. And I'm going to put both items from Mr. Kamal's on my list because there's chicken dumplings, which are
so good.
$6, right? Yeah. You get 3 fried dumplings with the ponzu sauce. It's a perfect walk around food. I've never met a dumpling that I didn't like, but I really, really like these.
Those are really good. They have a very puffy sort of coating to them, almost little. There's little air bubbles that I really
and they're not greasy. They're not because sometimes you get dumplings, fried dumplings, and they're greasy.
Right.
They also have the seasoned fries if you want to sort of really up your game and go sit by the water for a little bit. They used to be served with this. They have a chili
tzatziki or something.
Right. Well, they had a chili ketchup at one point. They had a curry mustard, and now I think it's a sriracha mayo. So the fries remain the same, but you never know what you might get in terms of the dipping sauce. And I think those are $5. It's a nice sized portion, and for both of them, I think the dumplings are $6. And I'm not sure. Do they still have? Again, this is a seasonal thing. they would have the potato hand pies, which are almost like
I've never had that before.
Yeah, which are like almost like the little samosas. The little samosas. The last time I was there, they weren't there, and they
weren't there when I was there a few weeks ago. But I remember them like they're
vegetarian, and I think they have like a chutney that was vegan because they're filled with like chickpeas and cauliflower, and they're spiced, but it's not spicy, if that makes any sense. And I love a nice, like, crispy samosa with a little bit of heat inside, too.
Yeah, I've never had that. That sounds from there. I need to.
Mr. Kamal's, Mr. Kamal is a winner in my book.
Mr. Kamal is he's a great guy. I mean, come on. I just have I feel like everything in Animal Kingdom is kind of underrated. So, like, it's almost overwhelming to me. I used to really love, for the vegetarians out there, I used to really love the hot link sandwich at Flame Tree Barbecue, the Impossible hot link. It was so good. They got rid of it. I'm like really upset about it. Now, if you just go around the corner, another vegetarian item I like that I had last time were, speaking of piggybacking on your street corn elote, they have street corn tacos at the Smiling Crocodile, which I like this option because so many of the vegetarian options use like, the Impossible or the fake meat. And this just doesn't. It's just a taco filled with like street corn and maybe slaw and like a delicious sauce. And so it's just really good. It's like a naturally vegetarian meal. And I really enjoyed that. And I hadn't heard many people talk about the tacos from there before. And I had the chicken ones and they weren't as good. So I would say like the vegetarian version is actually better in this case.
And I think don't they have like a pulled pork version as well?
They do have a pulled pork, which I think is better than the chicken. The only one that stood out to me was the street corn one. So that's a fun little tip. If you're a vegetarian, even if you're not a vegetarian, I would eat those again.
I'm going to cheat just a little bit. And my lawyering of my reasoning is, while this is served at a sit-down restaurant, you can get this at the bar. So I'm cheating and I don't care because I really want to include the tuna nachos at
I knew
it. Again, I think this was one that was on my original people list, and at least I'm consistent. 6 years later, because
you like what you like.
I like what I like, man. And you will always have me at sushi grade tuna. And then anything after that is
good, and it's loaded. It's loaded.
Well, I realized it's meant for two people. I say challenge accepted because I walked in by myself. And so instead of traditional tortilla chips, you get crispy fried wontons, this Asian slaw, and same thing. You get this. When people hear wasabi, they think it's hot. It's not. It's like it's a subtle heat within this wasabi aioli and a sweet soy glaze. So they really sort of balance each other out. It's also beautiful, and it's like a pyramid. It's like a huge pyramid. Stunning. Yeah, the portion size is. I know.
When it came out the first time I ordered it, I was like, it's gorgeous, and I love that you can sit at the bar there. Because I think that's rare in park. I guess at Animal Kingdom, they have a few little bar areas, but in most of the other parks, you can't just really walk in and sit at a bar at any of the restaurants. So I really like that.
Yeah.
And I think that totally counts.
Yeah. Because I think it's an upscale, like gourmet nacho. It's a really nice, like alternative to quote unquote, I don't want to call it theme park food, but it is. It's sort of like this little more of an upscale treat. You want to get out of the heat, you get a little Asian fusion in there as well. I think it's like $19, $20. So considering what you get on it, I actually think it's a pretty good value as well.
And if you are feeling like a cocktail at that moment, I recommend there's a watermelon margarita. No, not a margarita because it's made with vodka. It's a watermelon drink. I don't know what it's called, but I had it last time and it was really good. Really good. I had the nachos and I had the watermelon cocktail, and that was a great start to the day.
Listen, however you kick off your 9 a.m. at Disney's Animal Kingdom, Shay.
I didn't say it was 9 a.m. I think it was around noon. Okay, I didn't say it was 9. It was a later start day, is what I meant to say.
Anything else from Animal Kingdom? Because the only other thing I would throw in is I love going to Yak and Yeti, but around the corner, the local food cafe, the grab and go, the quick service, a nice little midday snack for me. Is you grab a couple of egg rolls and a chicken fried rice, and I think they're both like $7 or $8. So it's like $15-$16, and you grab a water or a beverage, or in Shay's cakes, a couple of watermelon things. You sit out in the back,
whatever that's called,
under the shady tree by the little fountain there in the middle, and that's a really nice snack too. Yeah,
and it's nice because it's like more familiar foods, and you can please a lot of people with that place. Yeah, I love that. There's too many. We'd have to do a separate Animal Kingdom episode because I could keep going on this forever.
Yeah, maybe we will. We're gonna have to write these down and top 10 food in Disney's Animal Kingdom.
Yep.
All right, let's move over to the fifth theme park, which is Disney Springs for me, especially from a culinary perspective, and I'm very curious to hear because there's so many great options, I think, in Springs.
So many. Do you think, it's harder with snacks at Springs because in my mind, Springs is like more of a sit down place, but I guess, why don't you go first? And
listen, my definition of snack may be a little bit.
No, we're being loosey goosey with the rules, and I have a list. I would like to hear you. I would like for you. I feel like you're probably more of a Springs expert than I am, but I do have a list. I have a list.
So this is a bit of low hanging fruit, but maybe not so much so because I love Everglazed. I love Everglazed. I love the cold brew coffee. I love I'm going to double dip here. I think the funky chicken sandwich may be one of, if not the best chicken sandwiches on property. I might live and die on that hill. But when you go in, you sort of, there's what I call like the Instagram donuts and then the donuts you actually eat, right? I don't love the ones that are sort of piled on with all kind of
stuff.
You're
in my head. Okay. But I'm going to let you speak. I keep wanting to interrupt you.
No, that's good.
I agree with you.
This is a conversation. It's not a,
I agree with you because last time I went, I got the dulce de leche, and I was like, I don't like this. It's too much stuff. And then you just get the plain glaze, and I'm like,
right.
The plain glaze is unbelievable. So good. Keep going.
Give me a plain blueberry, but the one that I want to bring to the forefront is the ube donut. Because people see, why is there a purple donut, and what the heck is an ube, and who is he? The ube donut it's like an Asian like yam. It's very popular in Asian desserts. It actually makes the donut from a textural perspective. It's a little bit softer than like the standard glazed donuts, and it's not overly sweet at all. It's a very, very subtle sweetness, and you might not like know what it is or recognize like the ube flavor unless you've eaten. I love Japanese food and Japanese snacks. So it's not overly sweet, and it's that less intense sweetness that I think that I love about it, because I don't want to sort of be hit in the face with sugar when I eat my donut, which is why I don't like the Instagram donuts. It is Instagrammable because it's purple, but that and a cold brew coffee, and you sit in the back at the donut garden, and then maybe you follow up with a funky chicken after. That's a nice day at Everglazed.
I love that. And I didn't know they had an ube donut.
Oh, dude.
And now I feel sad about that. Because I'm like, my donut tastes are like so basic. I'm like a Publix donut kind of guy. Like I like to go get a plain glaze from the grocery store. I like it to taste like a grocery store glazed donut. That's why I don't mess with like voodoo donuts or anything like that. I don't like it. Yeah. I don't like it. I agree with you 100%. But I will try the ube, and I will try that fried chicken sandwich because I've heard a lot about it. Actually,
dude, the funky chicken, because it's got this like ranch, this like spicy ranch slaw and barbecue and spicy mayo and the pickles. Oh, it's a good time right there.
All right, I'm all in. Okay, my first thing is going to be from the Polite Pig, and great barbecue there. Great barbecue. I'm from Texas originally, so my barbecue tastes are pretty snobby, but good barbecue for Florida. But what I'm here to talk about is the hop salt pretzel with they have a beard fondue. And it's really good. That hop salt is just that little interesting, savory, sort of funky, tangy thing. And with the beer cheese, I am a pretzel freak, and I love Jock Lindsay's too. But I have to say, last time I went and got this hop salt pretzel, I was like, maybe is this better than the Jock Lindsay's pretzel? I think it might be. It's really good.
It's only like $10 too. It's not
bad at all. It's huge. It's really big, and it's filling. That's one of my favorites. And I love the mac and cheese there too. Is really good. Yeah. I'm also a mac and cheese connoisseur. I wish the portions there were bigger because again, I'm from Texas, and when we get barbecue, it's like you buy a thing, you get a lot of stuff. So the portions are a little small for me. I love the hop salt pretzel. I love the mac and cheese.
Usually when I go there, not to go off on a tangent, usually when I go, because I like a lot of I'm a buffet kind of guy. I want to sort of get a little bit of this. Yeah. I usually get a bunch of different share bowls. So I think the play is you get the pretzel to share. I get the slider trio because you get the Southern pig, the low and slow brisket, and the fried chicken. I think it's $17, $18. And then you just get a bunch of the sides, like the tomato and watermelon salad, cauliflower.
The cauliflower is good.
Brussels sprouts.
Barbecue cauliflower.
Brussels sprouts all day.
Yum.
Yep.
Oh, I haven't had the Brussels sprout. That's new to me.
God, give me a good Brussels sprout, man.
Okay. Let's see. I feel like you know all the Disney Springs ins and outs. I would say I've been writing about Disney for, I don't know, 8 years now mostly. And I just recently really got into Disney Springs when I was writing this guide. Because before that, I would just spend all my time at the parks, and I feel like Disney Springs is more of a local place. But I've really, writing this guide, I had to dive in and go to every restaurant, and it's been a fun journey. There's just so much there. You can spend days. I spent 5 days at Saratoga Springs, so I could just walk there every day when I was doing research for this guide. And you don't get to everything. It's there's just so much. And I've grown to love Springs. I used to be kind of a hater, but I've grown to love it.
I dig Springs a lot. It's not an exaggeration to say I spend more time at Springs than I do in the parks.
I get it. Yeah.
Because I go there more often. Is it my turn?
Yeah. I just did the hop salt pretzel.
Okay.
Now your turn.
I'm going to give you not just one of the best flavors you will have anywhere on property, but as I think about it, and I just double checked the menu price, this may be the single best value in Walt Disney World. I know that's a bit of an extreme, but why not stir up a little controversy?
All right.
My love for Asian food goes very wide, very deep. I think
I know where we're going.
The holy trinity of restaurants is Boathouse, Morimoto, Homecoming. That's the Bermuda Triangle of awesomeness in Springs.
Yeah.
If you go around back, if you decide the front, wherever it is, to Morimoto Asia street food, you can get not one, not two, but three of the most amazing baby back ribs for $10. 3 ribs with that hint of cilantro and that hoisin sweet chili glaze. Shay, the first time I went there, everybody's like, oh, get the ribs. I'm like, listen, dude, I'm from the Northeast. I know what Chinese food ribs are supposed to taste like. They don't have these in Florida. These are life-changing. They're life-changing ribs. Really, and the way that meat falls off the bone, ridiculous.
They're great. This is an insanely good pick. I love Morimoto just in general. I also just like to eat there. I think it's a beautiful restaurant. Everything I've had there has been fantastic. And I think maybe you turned me on to the ribs originally as well. And again, I have to thank you. You've inspired me so much.
The feeling is mutual. And by the way, if you really want to sort of get crazy while you're there, the takoyaki, which don't let it freak you out, it's octopus fritters, these little octopus fritters with pickled ginger and okonomi sauce.
Lou, I don't know. I don't do octopus. It's one thing I don't do.
it's not like there's like little tentacles like flapping around you. Or you get the spicy kimchi ramen.
See, that'll do. I love kimchi. Octopus, I have a tough time with. The only octopus that I will really like is if it's like the little teeny tiny end of the tentacle, and if they char the heck out of it. You know what I mean? Like really burn. And then I'm like, I don't know what this is.
Right.
The last time I had
Shay will eat it.
Yes, just burn it into oblivion. The last time I had octopus was at actually Toledo in Coronado Springs. And I couldn't stomach it. I didn't like it at all.
It's so deep fried, Shay, that you don't even realize there's octopus in there.
That's fine. Okay, yeah, that's fine. I can eat deep fried just about anything. I would say. So you know what? I'll try it for the sake of journalism. And I have another pick, and probably the only good bratwurst I have ever had at Disney, because I've not enjoyed the ones from Friar's Nook. I have not enjoyed the ones in Germany Pavilion. Over at BB Wolf's, the little hot dog stand, they have an amazing bratwurst. It is loaded with sauerkraut. It has the spicy mustard. It's on a pretzel bun. Again, I have a sort of thing for pretzels, I guess. And it's really good. My husband is from Milwaukee, so he's like, he very much has a bratwurst like in his blood, and he's really high standards, and he loved it. I loved it. They got this really zippy mustard on it, and that's my pick. It's something that I think that I've just passed up many times, like that stand, because you're always kind of looking for somewhere maybe to go sit, but this is a true grab and go spot.
Yeah, because there's only the tables right across from it by the water, right near your path. That's a great pick, Shay. And as I'm looking at the menu, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 9 different versions of hot dogs and brats and Italian sausages and chili cheese dogs. I almost feel like I need to go and do a review just of BB Wolf's.
Should we do it?
My God. That's gonna be a good day right there. There's gonna be a lot of meat, and then I'll just.
No, it's a great little spot, and it's I mean, there are no shortage of hot dogs at Disney World, but these are a little elevated, I would say.
Yeah, Hawaiian hot dogs, New Orleans craw dog, Tennessee barbecue dog.
They do a fun like monthly special every month, so. Something to think about.
3 Little Pigs, 3 mini versions. Now we're talking pastrami dog.
That's the other thing, is you can do a sampler.
Oh, I'm all about the sampler platter. Like it's a little hot dog buffet.
Like you said about the slider is similar thing.
All right, I dig that. I'm famished, by the way. I should have taken.
I know. I'm like, oh my gosh,
I'm not listening.
I'm hungry.
All right. There's a ton of other things that I could mention in Springs. You may or may not have heard about a little place called Gideon's. All right. I'm just going to throw this in just for fun. Do
you like Gideon's? Because to me, there's too many chocolate chips, but that's just my opinion.
So as the self-proclaimed not a sweets guy, when I'm in the mood for like a good chocolate, they have a dark chocolate sea salt thing. Then they've got a couple of specialty cookies that I cut myself a teeny tiny little slice 17 times. And then I bring it home. And they have a peanut butter cold brew coffee, which is magnificent. Believe it or not, the peanut butter cold brew coffee cuts the sweetness of the
just like a nice little break from
right.
Yeah, the pistachio toffee there is really good, but again, it's so I can have one bite. I love the fudgy center.
Yeah,
I don't like all the chocolate.
It's a one bite. Yeah, it's a one bite.
I know I'm in the minority. I'm a hater in the minority, so. Don't listen to me.
And if the line's ever too long, it literally will take you less time to drive up to Winter Park, go to the original location, get your cookies from there, and come back.
Or go to Summer House on the Lake Cookie Bar. I like it. I don't know if you've been. I think it's a good cookie. They do good cookies there. I'm not going to say. I know people will get mad if I say it's better than Gideon's. I kind of prefer it. They're less of a showy thing. But they're really, if you want a chocolate chip cookie and you want it quick, just go there instead.
Yeah. I'm only going to throw this in just because I think it's fun, and the premise is hidden gems. I'm not saying that Joffrey's Coffee is the best coffee that you'll find anywhere on the planet, but if you step across from the Boathouse, which is my favorite place, like anywhere, if you go to the Joffrey's Coffee and Tea Company there, they have something fun that you can do, and it literally costs like 50 cents, where you can get custom art on your coffee or latte, where they not only have like Disney characters, like there's like, I think 10 or 15 Disney characters, but if you download the Ripples app, you can take a picture of yourself or a picture off your phone or your logo or whatever, upload it to the Ripples app, and then like conform the size, confirm your order, and then they create your sort of image or your picture right on your little latte.
That is cool. How long does that take?
4 hours. No, it's really fast.
Oh my God.
No, it's super fast.
That's
I mean,
cool.
It happens within a matter of seconds. It's really easy.
That's cool.
Yeah,
That's
fun.
That's a really good one.
Yeah, that's
a
fun.
good hidden gem that I didn't even know about.
And then walk next door and get some gelato from Vivoli.
Yes. Okay. Maybe a final for Disney Springs.
Yep.
Or unless, have you been to Eat by Manit?
I have. I did the Eat with Manit dinner, which was amazing.
Eat with Manit.
Yeah.
Oh, I met her once when I worked for Rachel Ray, because she came into. I used to test in a previous life. I tested the 30-minute meals for Rachel Ray.
Oh wow!
And that's another story for another time. But she did come in when like Chopped was still kind of early on. She came in and was the nicest person.
I was so happy. I was like, please don't say she's mean, because she seemed so nice when I talked to her.
The nicest person, and was so lovely and like just a pleasure. And she came in and cooked for us, and it was and yeah. So last time I went, I didn't go to the Eat with Manit this time, but I did get the tandoori poutine, and I got the walking taco, and I got the naan pizza. The chicken tikka naan pizza, and they were all really good. Like everything was really good there. And I have to say, I used to like the buttered chicken poutine from the Daily Poutine, and I'm like, she's kind of putting them out of business because it's like a double the size, way cheesier, way saucier, way more chicken. It is more expensive, but you get way more food, and it's much better. So I think that the Daily Poutine needs to retire the butter chicken poutine and just let her kind of shine with her thing over there, because that's a really good menu item.
And I mean, Eat itself is a hidden gem, almost sort of because of where it is. Like she actually just did a video.
Unless you're walking in, right? Unless you're walking in that way.
Because she literally walked people from the garage and showed people where it is, because it's sort of tucked away back there. And I think, again, sometimes people hear Indian food and they get very scared. They don't know what it is. Yeah. And it's so very accessible. Like it's not everything is spicy and curry. It's a very accessible menu.
Well, what I also like is I feel like she kind of played on like theme park traditional food. Like when we're talking about a walking taco, which is something I think of, like I first had at a water park in Wisconsin, but it's an Indian version. And they use the crispy puff snacks, but then they do like a kind of normal chili, and then they'll add a tamarind chutney for the little Indian spice and sweetness. And it was like, it's so good. It's everything I had there was really, really quite delicious.
It's, I'm excited. So I'm going to go do a live review there soon, and I'm very, very excited.
Yeah. That place is great.
Yeah. And the fact that she's nice makes it even better.
It helps. Yeah. I like that. I like when someone's not a jerk.
All right.
Always, after working at People Magazine, I won't name any names, but it's always pleasant. I'll say that.
I will only say this, that sometimes meeting some of the folks whose names are, you're like, oh, I wish I wouldn't have met you, because you look very different on TV.
That's how I felt the first time I met Lou Mangello. I was scared. I was like, what if he's not as nice as he is on the radio? Thankfully, you're even more of a pleasure in person.
My friends might say otherwise, but it doesn't matter. Do you have any at the resorts?
I do.
Go ahead.
If we want to go there, I got a couple. We can do it quick.
Lay it on me.
All right. The first thing I have. Well, okay. First thing I have are the prime rib sliders from Cruise Cup over at Yacht and Beach Club. They're really delicious. They come on almost like it tastes like a flaky biscuit to me. It's like this really buttery roll, stuffed with prime rib, and you get a horseradish sauce and a jus and these very crispy kettle chips. And that it's open later than like most food places at Disney. So even like after Epcot closes, if you're somehow still hungry, it's a good place to kind of pop into.
That sounds amazing.
It's really good. And you dip it in the jus. It's the whole thing. It's really good.
Yeah. I had a couple. I'll go very quickly as well. I'm going to go over to, and I just had this very recently. I had a meeting here and I really like this. I went over to Bar Riva at the Riviera, which I love, by the way. And Bar Riva is like this combination of like lounge meets quick service meets pool bar. And it's why I included it here, because even though you sit down, they have a baked brie with this warm, creamy brie in this flaky puff pastries. And there's, it's served with like fruit preserves and little slices of sourdough bread. But the brie, at least when I had it, or I was really, really hungry, maybe it's recency bias, but the brie was like this perfect consistency. It was gooey and smooth. And then you get that, the puff pastry that's like buttery and crisp. And then the fruit, like it was just this nice little mix of all three. Maybe I was, like I said, hungry, but I was very impressed.
I've had it and you're correct. It's very good. I like that. And I'll also include into the conversation the risotto balls from Bar Riva. They do the mushroom risotto, I think stuffed with cheese, and they serve it with some marinara sauce. Really delicious. Those last time I went, I had both of those things, and it was like that's a great little meal snack, depending on your situation.
Yeah, any others?
And I do love to just sit at Bar Riva. Yeah. It's really, and like you said, it's sort of unlike any other. Because the other pool bars at the resorts, even the deluxe resorts, is not really ones that you would hang out at if you weren't staying there necessarily. Right. You have Hurricane Hannah's, but there's not really any interesting food there.
Because this is like inside and outside. It's like an open air type hybrid restaurant. Really pleasant.
They have a nice frosé, if you like frosé. Everything, I love Bar Riva. The other things that I have, I don't know that they qualify as snacks because they're just like, because more from restaurants there. But I will say, just to pop in real quick, the Kona Cafe pot stickers at Polynesian. They're the kind that have, when they have like the lacy edges at the bottom, so they're all sort of connected into one. And it's interesting because you can get dumplings over at the bar, over at Tambu Lounge. And those are really good too. And they come like 13 to an order. It's like really, those are great. But I do prefer the one at Kona Cafe because of the lacy little crispy edges. I'm not sure exactly how they do that. I think it's like some sort of slurry they cook the dumplings in, and then they all connect and you kind of break them apart. And it's very pleasant. And yeah, that's the last thing I have. Is really good. Last time I went.
I love the fact that I think that we mentioned dumplings no less than 19 times.
I know. Well, okay, we could do a dumpling
Top
tour.
3 dumplings at Walt Disney World. Like that's a throwdown that I would be all in for.
It's something. They used to have them at Sunshine Tree Terrace in Magic Kingdom. They got rid of them. Made me really mad. I didn't like that.
I'm going to throw one more in here just for fun, and because it's a place I think nobody ever goes to. Like unless you're staying there. Nobody ever goes to Disney's Coronado Springs Resort, and I'm going to invite you to Rick's Sports Bar. And do you know where I'm going with this?
I'm just going to let you talk, and then I have more things to add on.
There are Wachos, and you're like, Mangello, you're mispronouncing tachos. No, I'm not. It's a Wacho because they are crispy waffle fries with warm cheese dip. Is amazing. You can also get it with pork carnitas or grilled chicken. And it's this, like we talked about before, like with the ahi tuna nachos, like it's this twist on the traditional type of nachos with waffle fries as the base. And then you get this queso blanco and bacon and scallions and the queso fresco. And then if you want to add meat that you can do it as well. And I love the sort of the little bit of like smokiness to the queso blanco. Like it's creamy and it's mild and it really is a nice sort of compliment to the bacon.
Rick's is great. And it's also another place that's like open pretty late. And again, you'd only really go there if you're staying there. I happen to have just stayed there a couple weeks ago at Coronado. Great. I stayed in Grandestino. It was a great experience. I love that resort when you are staying there. What I'm going to add to that is, I don't know if you've been before 10:30. It's tough to get to Rick's before 10:30, but like it feels a little weird. I'm like, why am I in this sports bar right now? But they do have the Mickey waffles that are stuffed with fried chicken on a stick.
Shut your face. What?
I can't.
Did you say Mickey waffles stuffed with fried chicken?
It is a Mickey waffle. They bring, I think, 4 of them on a stick, on like a platter. They're sticking up like a little powdered sugar with maple syrup, and you dip it in. And then when you bite into it, they have like a whole piece of fried chicken, like a fried chicken nugget inside, like a big nugget inside of it. And that was the last thing I ate on my, like before I got on my plane, because we had a morning flight, and I was like, we have to go get these. I rope dropped Rick's just to get these Mickey. No, I was the only person there. I rope dropped Rick's at like 8 a.m. I was there waiting for them to open. They were like, why are you here? And it's fantastic if you're over there. And then I'm going to add one more thing if we want to end on a little dessert, but Dahlia Lounge has a brand new menu. They just debuted it maybe 2 weeks ago. And the churros there, first of all, are fantastic. But the orange, I think they call it flancocho. It's like cake underneath and then a flan on top. And it's orange with this sort of caramel. And it's the best dessert that I've had at Disney. I'm actually going to say that. I've said it is the best dessert I've ever had at Disney World. It is so good. It's not something I would normally order. Wow. But the waitress was like, you have to get this. Everyone's been obsessed with it. So I tried it and I was like, you can see, it's one of those, you can see the vanilla bean flecks throughout, you know, when you know it's going to be really good, like vanilla. And that was the best thing I ate on my last trip. So if you take nothing else away from this, go get the orange flancocho from Dahlia Lounge.
Wow. Talk about saving the best for last, the best dessert you've had.
I'm so glad you brought up Coronado Springs, because I would have forgot about it otherwise, and we wouldn't have gotten that.
But that's the beauty of this list, Shay. If we would have tried to do this 10, 15 years ago, this list would have been wildly different, because I think that the chefs at Disney have very much upped their game in terms of getting beyond the concept of what quote unquote theme park food is. Some of the best meals I've ever had, I've had at Walt Disney World. And I think these are just some of the true hidden gems and hidden treasures. And I'm sure that as we wrap this up, someone is yelling at, I almost called it their iPod, their Zune, their iPod, their car, their dog, whatever it is, going, Mangello, Spence, how did you possibly leave off X? Let us know if you agree, if you disagree, and what we missed. I'll post this question over in the clubhouse, but better yet, I would love to hear, I want to hear the passion in your voice as you describe the items that we missed. Call the voicemail at 407-900-9391. That's 407-900-WDW1. And then Shay Spence, this is even better than I dreamed last night it would be. I sat there in my bed all cuddled up. It was like I was preparing for a trip to Disney World. I just couldn't sleep, hoping that I would live up to your expectations, and you have blown them out of the water.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on. I do have a discount code for your listeners for the guide. It is a digital guide, and it's mapped out. So if you're in the parks, there's like, right now I think I have 220 restaurant reviews on there across the parks, across the resorts, across Disney Springs, and you can pull it up on your map when you're in the park find places near you, find my favorite menu items with photos, find my least favorite menu items. I'm very brutally honest since we're behind a paywall there. You know, we can just be honest. And I'm also working on these itineraries where I show exactly, you know, mapped out where to go around the world. At Epcot, I have one coming out that is deluxe resort hopping day. I actually just want to break that down for a second because I did a deluxe resort hopping one day. You start at Riviera, maybe have a pastry or coffee, take Skyliner over Yacht and Beach Club. You can check out, you know, beaches and cream. You can take in a little bit, go to the boardwalk. From the boardwalk, take the boat to Hollywood Studios. And from there, take a bus to Animal Kingdom Lodge, have lunch at Sanaa, bus back to Animal Kingdom, bus to Wilderness Lodge, go to Geyser Point, maybe have a little drink, have a little snack, boat to Contemporary. I did a little shopping at that. I love the store in the lobby there. And then monorail, Polynesian, and at Grand Floridian. It's the ultimate deluxe resort hopping day. And it's intense, but these are the kind of itineraries that I'm coming out with on there. And once you buy it once, then you have it for life, even as I'm adding more itineraries, and they're all mapped out. And anyway, I'm pretty excited about it.
That sounds like a perfect day. And thank you for you know what? I'll make it easy. If you go to wdwradio.com/Shay, SHAY, it will take you right to where you can get Shay's Ultimate Disney World Food Guide with the discount and everything else like that. And be sure, tell people where they can follow along with you on social.
You can find me at the Shay Spence on Instagram and on TikTok. Those are my two main platforms. And yeah, send me a message. I love to chat with everyone. And I'm so happy to be exposed to the audience of Lou Mangello. It feels like a full circle career moment right now.
Thank you.
You know what? I actually credit you to like sort of helping me get out of to realize that there is this whole Disney space out there that you can make a living doing this. And I really, no joke, admire you a lot, Lou. So this is
thank
great.
you, man. I really appreciate you. You've helped me a lot, and you've always been very kind to me, Shay, and I mean that sincerely. And I am always grateful for that, and I will never forget. And we should do this again.
Let's do it again. You stole the words.
And when you come down, we should do will you pick the place? We'll do a live review of a restaurant in Walt Disney World too.
I would love that.
That
awesome,
sounds
man.
great. Shay Spence, you are the best,
Perfect.
man. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Lou.
It's time for our Walt Disney World Trivia Question of the Week, where I invite you to test your knowledge of Walt Disney World history or see how well you pay attention to the details in which you see, hear, remember, maybe even taste. And if you think you know the answer, you can enter for a chance to win a Disney Prize package. And this week's trivia contest is once again brought to you by you. Because as part of the WDW Radio Nation, you can become an important part of every episode of the show, live broadcast, and community. And for as little as $1 per month, not only do you help the show, but you also unlock exclusive rewards like monthly scavenger hunts, group video calls every month, private community access, and monthly care packages from the parks. Plus, your contribution helps our Dream Team project, which sends children with life-threatening illnesses to Walt Disney World through the Make-A-Wish Foundation. And thanks to your generosity, we've raised more than $550,000 so far. Plus, I'm just so incredibly grateful for your love, support, friendship, and help. And I love being able to give back to you and say thank you each and every month. And I want to thank some new and longtime members of the Nation family, including Carrie Ochoa, Greg Smith, Christina Welch, Mary Pervez, and Ashley Scarpa. If you want to find out how to help support the show and join the Nation, you can visit wdwradio.com/support. Now, before we get to this week's question, let's go back, review last week's, and so I hope you enjoyed the episode last week where I was able to share my visit to Walt Disney Imagineering with you in my interview with Sharita and Ted. And that's where I wanted to stay with a trivia question about Princess and the Frog and some of the critters and characters in the film, and maybe ones that are coming soon to the attraction. So last week's question was to tell me what famous voiceover artist provided the voice of Ray the Firefly in the... Now, I mentioned and hinted that you've heard this voice before because he was also the voice of Darkwing Duck, Razul from Aladdin, Ed from The Lion King, Chief Powhatan from Pocahontas, and of course, Ray from Princess and the Frog, as well as other Disney characters, the narrator for Epcot's Illuminations, Reflections of Earth, and of course, his most famous role of Winnie the Pooh. He is, of course, Mr. Jim Cummings. So congratulations and thank you if you entered and got this one correct. And last week you were playing for a very special and unique prize package from my visit to Walt Disney Imagineering that included Tiana's cookbook, a Tiana's Bayou Adventure apron, towel, bag, an Imagineering notebook, and a mystery prize. And you were either very excited about the prize or this question was very, very easy based on the number of entries that I received. I took all the correct entries, randomly selected one, and last week's winner is Lauren Cahill. So Lauren, congratulations. I will get your prize package out to you right away. And if you played last week and didn't win, that's okay, because here's your next chance to enter in this week's Walt Disney World Trivia Challenge. So we're going to stick with the idea of snacks and treats in the park, because this week I want you to tell me which iconic Walt Disney World snack made its debut in Disneyland in 1986. What iconic Walt Disney World treat that started in Walt Disney World made its debut later in Disneyland in 1986? You have until Sunday, April 21st at 11:59 p.m. Eastern to go to WDWRadio.com, click on this week's podcast, use the form there, and this week you're once again going to play for the WDW Radio 3D keychain, a bunch of stickers, a WDW Radio pin, and a mystery prize. So good luck and have fun. That's going to do it for this week's show. Huge thanks, first and foremost, to you for taking the time to tune in this and every week. I sincerely appreciate you. I know how valuable your time is, and thank you for sharing it with me. And of course, big thanks to Shay Spence. I will link all of his socials in the show notes at WDWRadio.com and give you a link to where you can get his new Ultimate Guide book with the discount simply by going to WDWRadio.com/Shay, SHAY. Don't forget to join me this and every Wednesday night at 7:30 p.m. Eastern for WDW Radio Live on YouTube and Facebook this week, where we can talk more about some of the hidden snack gems in Walt Disney World, what's new and what's news in the Disney parks. And of course, you never know where I might be broadcasting from. Please check out our events page at WDWRadio.com/events. We have 2 cruises coming up, including our October cruise on the Disney Magic out of Fort Lauderdale to Lighthouse Point, and our February 2025 cruise on the Disney Treasure. I'll be doing a meetup next month in London, England, right before the start of our WDW Radio Adventures by Disney. And the next meet of the month is this weekend in Walt Disney World as part of the Run Disney Springtime Surprise. I'll also be cheering on the boardwalk Saturday and Sunday for all of the 10K and half runners. And if and when you're coming to Walt Disney World or joining us on one of our cruises or looking to book your own next adventure, please visit our friends over at Mousefan Travel. They are my official and recommended travel provider because they're the experts that I've trusted and recommended for more than 17 years. Whether you're dreaming of your next magical vacation to a Disney destination or any other place on this big, blue, beautiful world of ours, Mousefan Travel offers an incredible level of personal service, expert advice, and amazing deals, all at no cost to you. Don't just take my word for it. You can check them out yourself over at mousefantravel.com. And if you're looking for a keynote speaker for your event, conference, or to your business, I can craft a custom presentation for you, sharing lessons learned from the Disney parks on customer service, leadership, and experiences. Or if you are a creator, entrepreneur, or solopreneur looking to take your business, brand, or idea to the next level, find out some of the ways I can help you and we can work together, and about my Momentum Weekend Workshop in Walt Disney World this fall by visiting LouMongello.com. Again, you can connect with me on social. I am at Lou Mongello on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. And if there's ever anything I can do for you, if you have a question you'd like me to answer on an upcoming episode of the show, you can always email me, lou@wdwradio.com. So until next time, remember to choose the good, find joy in the journey, and have an amazing day and even better tomorrow. I love you. I appreciate you. So until next time, see ya.